He was covered in rippling muscles. His eyes looked like root beer with a jet black center. I could even feel his heart pounding as if it was my own.
All right, you ready?
Sure. Oh, I gotta stop. I couldn't keep looking at that.
I don't care. It's up to you.
Okay.
Whatever you got to do. I don't look at it.
Where am I? Oh, I'm right over here.
There. Hello, and welcome to Talk About Strange. Thank you for joining me here today. I got a very special episode for you. I have a very important special guest here with us today. So she's going to be helping us out with this video. I'm really excited about it. I know you guys are going to all love it. So please welcome and say hello to my very beautiful, talented, and smart daughter, Ashley. Say hello. No, you can say hello over here. I said smart, right?
Wow.
I'm kidding. No. Anyway, listen, thank you for joining us here today. I think everybody's going to love this. It's going to be a real treat. There's a couple people on here who thought that Claire was actually going to be here today because I gave a hint that we were going to have a special guest, and they're like, "Is it going to be Claire?" So,
sorry to disappoint you guys.
No, even better, my daughter Ashley. So she's going to help us out with this and telling this and sharing this story with you guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. And listen, please don't fire me from my job because I know she's going to do a lot better than me. But
Yeah.
but we'll see what we can do here. All right. So anyway. You guys have all been waiting and anxiously waiting, and I've been anxiously waiting to hear back from Claire. She had, as you guys, if you remember, she had that run in with the MIB. I shared that video, or what, you guys probably seen it. And because of everything that transpired, she had to go into hiding for a while. She had to go out and take care of her own business. So she was gone for a little while, and everybody's very concerned about her. Anyway, I'm really pleased to say that she is back. She's going to be sharing some more information with us. There's a lot going on. This particular story she's sharing is somebody that she's helping out. So she's going to share this with you guys. And I mean, I know you guys are going to really enjoy it. It's really great stuff. So grab your popcorn, kick back, relax, and get ready and enjoy. All right, let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to start this out, and then I'm going to hand the torch off to Ashley, and she is going to read the part of Helen, all right? Her name is Helen. She is 35 years old, and for the past 17 years, she has been living in the forest with the love of her life. This is just the beginning of her story and how she fell in love with a Bigfoot Klansman and is about to have his baby. All right. Now, this is from Claire. Hello, Steve and TAS family. It is me, Claire. I'm back and we have so much to catch up on. I am sorry it's been so long. Just know that everybody, including myself, are okay. I just finally had an opportunity to listen to and read some of your comments. I so appreciate all of you. Thank you for all of your love and support and well wishes. I promise I will get back to you all with updates regarding my MIB abduction and what followed soon. But for now, I'd like to focus on sharing Helen's incredible story with all of you. I just wanted to let you know that I'm okay. And by the way, you'll all want to stick around until the very end of this story. Trust me, I have a big surprise for you all. Here we go. All right. So this part is from Claire. This is Helen's true story in her words. She asked me to record and share them with you just in case she doesn't survive the coming days. Okay? All right, here we go. So I'm going to try to hand this over without dropping it. Here you go. All right. My daughter, Ashley. Sorry, had to do it. She's going to kill me for that. Go ahead.
Sorry if you had to edit that.
Testing. We're ready to go.
Okay.
Actually, I'll keep these right on. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Helen. I'm no one special, just a girl. I have no family outside of the forest where I now live, none that care to stay anyway. But for anyone that does care or just wants to hear me, I'd like to share my personal story with you. So if something happens to me, maybe I just won't be forgotten. I was born just a stone's throw from the Sawtooth National Forest. My mother was a waitress and housekeeper for a cheap motel, My father was a useless drunk and gambler. I guess once upon a time he was a good man, but that all changed when he broke his leg and lost his job. I was a very young I was very young, so I don't remember all those details. I had one older sister and a brother that was older than us. I guess he got sick of helping out around the house and moved away. I never saw him again. My father was seldom home, but when he was there, he was usually sleeping off the whiskey or beer. My mother worked all hours of the day, but came home long enough to make sure we ate something and did our homework. Sometimes I saw her cover Dad with a blanket before leaving again. She always had a sad smile on her face, but sometimes, if he was awake, all they did was fight about money and bills. My sister and I would sneak out back and go play in the woods. We spent a lot of time out there. That's how I met my friend. I was just about 12 years old. For me, the forest felt like a second home. My sister was 14, and for her, it was just an escape until the yelling stopped. I liked exploring and always begged her to go with me deeper into the woods, and if her mood was right, she did. We always made sure to stay close to a stream that ran through the woods in our backyard. I wanted to follow it as far as possible to see where it would lead us. I always imagined some sort of lost paradise, but she insisted that it's too dangerous and we could get lost. I always told her that I know we would be okay, that my invisible friend would keep us safe. She played along when we were younger, but as she got older, she stopped believing me. I never understood why she could not hear them like I do. One day, she finally got sick of hearing it and started yelling at me bad, right up until I just sat on the ground crying. She had never yelled at me like that before, and at that time, it didn't make any sense to me. When she realized how much she broke my heart, she started apologizing, but I continued crying until she said, "Okay, let's go for a long walk." I asked her where, and she said, "We will follow the stream as far as you want, just as long as we can get back before dark and Mom comes home." That snapped me out of my tantrum quickly. I started running for the woods, out back with my sister, trailing behind, hollering to slow down. But I wanted to get as far as I could, as fast as I could. I kept telling my friend in my mind that we were on our way. My sister was older and caught up with me, but it wasn't easy. We must have made our way a good 2.5, maybe 3 miles in when we reached a decent-sized waterfall. My sister said, "Well, that's as far as we can go," but I kept looking for a way up. Then she said, "I'm sorry, but it's too dangerous to go any further." But the voice in my head said to keep looking, there is a path. I found it. So I called my sister over. She took one look and said, "No way, it's too steep." I reminded her that she promised and that I only needed to see the top, and that was all. She said, "And then we can go home?" I said, "Yes, I promise." What she didn't know was that my friend would be waiting at the top. As soon as she said it was fine, I started to climb the steep hill. About 3/4 of the way up, I looked and realized that my sister was right. It was very steep and dangerous. Still, I continued until I reached the top. I waited for her and gave her a hand with the last couple steps up. As she caught her breath, I walked ahead just a little ways. I stopped at the edge of a drop-off. It's maybe 15-20 feet from the rocks and water. I was standing there admiring the beautiful view when my friend asked, "Can you see me?" I was looking all around across the water to the other side. It was just a good distance away. I said, "No, where are you?" Just as soon as I asked, I saw him stepping out into the light on the other side. He was beautiful. Just as I saw him with my eyes, I began seeing him in my mind. It was like the clouds just cleared away. My sister pushed through the brush beside me and said, "Wow, be careful you don't fall down there." I heard her, but I wasn't listening. All I could do was stare. So she said, "Hey, do you hear me?" I said, "Yeah," and pointed. She looked but couldn't see him. She asked me what I was pointing at, and I said, "It's him, my invisible friend." She followed my hand in the direction that I was pointing and all at once gasped. Then she asked me, "What is that?" I said, "He's my friend." She said, "No, that's a wild creature." I told her he isn't. But about the time she started to relax, his father broke through the brush next to him. My sister let out a shrieking scream of terror. I was frozen stiff. I never expected something so big to come out of the woods. In an instant reaction to her scream, my friend's father let out a loud scream. It was so loud that I had to cover my ears and close my eyes. When I opened them, him and my friend were gone. My sister started dragging me back to the steep hill. I was still in shock, and I could hear my friend screaming. I must have been in trouble. He must have been in trouble for leading me here. Then, all at once, my sister lost her footing while trying to get me to follow her and started tumbling down the hill. I heard her scream with pain a couple times before she came to a silent rest at the bottom. The sound of her screams drowned out the cries for my friend, and my concerns were now that she would be okay. I hurried down the hill, sliding mostly on my behind. When I reached her, she was waking up from a hard hit to her head. She screamed out once again as soon as she tried to put any pressure on her left ankle. She was shaking and very scared that the creatures on the hill would come and kill us. She continued to cry and say, "We need to get out of here." I tried to tell her that we were safe, but she wouldn't hear me. I found her a walking stick that was near the water's edge and helped her to her feet. It was really difficult to get her to stay up because her ankle and her left arm was limp. She had some blood that was slowly running down the side of her face from her head. I don't know how bad it was, and she never told me. It took us a long time to get back home, and it was well past dark. We followed the sound of the stream until we heard our parents calling out. I hollered back, and it wasn't long before we saw their flashlights. Our neighbor was with them. My mother reached us first. Before she reached us, I begged my sister not to tell them about my friend. She just looked at me like I was some kind of freak. I don't think she ever did tell them, but from that day forward, I had lost her as a sister. She never went with me to the forest again and barely even made eye contact with me after that. At least once in a while, she would forget just long enough for us to talk and laugh about something else, but it never lasted too long. Only months after that, my parents separated, and my father moved far away, as far as he possibly could. Then, soon as my sister turned 17, she left to go live with him. I've never heard from either of them again. I miss my sister and will always wonder how she is and what she is doing. I know now that she loves me, and she's just scared of the things she doesn't understand. Now it was just my mother and I. She never remarried. My father left her with a heap of bills, so all she did was work. My mother and I got along okay, and even had a chance to go to a few places together when she had the extra cash. I never dared to tell her about my friend, and eventually I slowly made my way back into the forest. Then, one day out of the blue, I heard that familiar voice, only he sounded louder, and his voice was deeper. I asked if it was really him. He said yes. I asked where he has been. He said his group left the area after what happened. He told me he came back just as soon as he could, just to check on me. He even asked if my sister was okay. I told him what happened and that I've missed him for a long time. Then he told me that he couldn't stay, but he would be back sometime soon. I returned to those woods every day, hoping he would be there, but he wasn't. Days turned into weeks, then months. All the while, my mother started developing a bad cough. First, she thought it was cold, then allergies. I finally talked her into going to the doctor. The news wasn't good. Within a few months, I was completely alone. I felt like my world was quickly closing in on me. Everyone that I knew and loved was gone. Then, to top it off, the bank told me that if I couldn't pay the mortgage, they would have no choice but to take the house. I wasn't even 18, and suddenly I had to become an adult. Up until then, I thought I knew it all. I retreated to my room and only went out to deliver pizza part-time while I looked for a full-time job and buy whatever food I could when I could. The bills continued to pile up and the phone rang off the hook all day. The best thing that happened was when they finally turned off the phone service. I had reached rock bottom, and there were a couple of different men that I delivered pizza to that always offered a bigger tip if I slept with them. The thought made me sick, but for some reason it continued to haunt my thoughts. Every day that I worked, I would talk myself into doing it just until I got on my feet. Then either I didn't deliver to them or I'd chicken out. Finally, one day, I made up my mind. I had to do it. I needed money to get the hell out of this place. Even if I didn't deliver to them, I was going to go to their house. I stormed out of the house and was heading to my car. I no sooner turned around and there was a little blue car parked behind my car in the driveway. A friendly, bald-headed man got out of the car and asked me if my name was Helen. He included my last name. I said, "Yeah, I guess you're with the bank." He said, "No, no, Well, I interrupted him and said, "If you're looking for money, I haven't got any." Then I got in my car. He approached my window and said, "No, on the contrary, I'm here to give you your money." Okay, he had my attention. I looked at him and asked if this was some kind of joke. He said, "No, if you could just roll down your window, I'll explain." So I did. Turns out my worthless father did do one decent thing for my mother and I. He drank himself to death. Apparently, he left a bar so drunk he fell and hit his head on the sidewalk. He had a life insurance policy that apparently he wasn't aware of. It was supposed to go to my mother, but she passed before she could claim it. So it went to me and my siblings. I guess my brother didn't want anything to do with it, so it was split between my sister and I. Fortunately, the attorney handled everything and helped me use my half to pay off the house and some of the other bills. It took almost every cent. In fact, the attorney even waived his own fees just to make sure there would be enough. I won't disclose his name, but he probably saved my life the day he showed up. I'll be forever grateful to him, and I guess, in a way, even my father saved me from making a horrible mistake that day as well. I now owned my home, and things started looking up for me. Still, I kept to myself. I worked 2 part-time jobs, just like my mother, and whenever I could, I'd walk out into the forest and look and listen for my friend. Another year had passed. I was starting to believe I'd never see him again. Then, one early morning, I saw his face in my mind. The vision was stronger than ever before. I could see him. I could even see the forest as he looked around. I thought that I must be dreaming and fought the urge to wake up. I watched him walk across the water, up on top of that steep hill, and then quite easily started walking down the same path that my sister fell. In my mind, I heard him calling my name and saying, "Coming to you." My connection to him was so strong that I couldn't help myself but to sit up. That's when I realized it wasn't a dream. I could still see him and feel him. Sun was just cresting in the east and shining on the mountain. I was still in my nightshirt, but I didn't care. I threw on my slippers and ran for the forest. I don't think my slippers even made it across the lawn. I felt like I was floating on air. My body was buzzing with joy, excitement, and energy that drove me to run without even feeling the sticks or stones that I was running on. There was no fear, no stopping me. I ran just as fast as I could through the forest until I saw him. I only stopped long enough to admire his beauty. The first time I saw him, he was just a scrawny boy covered in hair. Now he towered almost as tall as his father. The morning sun cascaded over him, almost eliminating his beautiful, long, brownish gold hair. He was covered in rippling muscles. His eyes looked like root beer with a jet black center. I could even feel his heart pounding as if it was my own. When he gave me a grin, that was all I could take. I ran and leapt into his powerful arms and wrapped myself around him. I felt the heavy weight of relief he was feeling as he let out a long moan of happiness. It sounded like a cross between a grizzly bear and the rumble of a lion. I knew in that moment what started out as a friendship was now nothing but pure love. From that point forward, I spent almost all of my time with him, only going home long enough to eat and take care of my domesticated life. But more and more I learned how to live in the forest, and he learned how to help me live there. Sometimes if it was too cold for me to go see him for too long, he would come stay with me. But he had a hard time being in the house for any real length of time. As the years passed, I found myself staying in the forest more than my home. Then one day during our travels, we stumbled upon a very well-hidden cave. He knew how much I loved exploring caves, so the following day we returned. I brought a flashlight in order to see, although he didn't need a flashlight to see. The entrance was somewhat small, so I never expected it to be so big and beautiful inside. We heard water running in the distance as we entered deeper into the cave. Eventually, it opened up into a grand cathedral-like area, almost twice the size of my house. I immediately knew this was going to be our home. There was even a large pool of crystal clear water at the bottom of a small waterfall where the stream ran through. There was only one thing that really broke my heart. We found an old hermit that lived and died there. He was laying next to a fire pit he built. Just a skeleton and old clothes. All of what he owned was still there. A rusty metal coffee pot, an aluminum pan, a couple rusty cans next to an oil lamp. The grass was still blackened from burning out slowly, and a raggedy old blanket rolled up as his pillow. You could tell he passed away in his sleep. He almost looked peaceful. So we moved all of his remains just a little ways out from the cave entrance and gave him a simple funeral. After all, this was his home first, and I wanted him to know that he wasn't forgotten, which is why I asked Claire to do this for me. I seldom returned to my old home. The last time was to pick out some items to remind me of my life before, but now that home only holds the ghosts of my past. I'm happier now than I ever was there. We do sometimes look in from a distance just to see if anyone has taken it over. But it would appear so far only the forest has. As I look upon it, sometimes I see myself and my brother and sister running around the lawn, laughing and playing. I guess there is still a small void that no amount of love can fill, but I have accepted it for what it is and moved on. By now you're probably wondering if my love has a name. He is Cowlitz, named after the people that have looked after his people for centuries. It means seeker. He still refers to me as Helen. I asked him if I should choose a new name, and he said, "No, you are still you. Your name is a gift." Some of his people lived down in the forest, but many of them lived high up in the mountains where I could never survive. It was over 3 years before I met any of his people. However, I recognized his father right away. He is still even bigger than Cowlitz. His mother is smaller, but much bigger than me. As in-laws go, these are in-laws you wouldn't want to hate you. Fortunately, I don't sense anything but love from them. They are both so beautiful. They come see us every year, and now others stop by as well. There is no invite or expectations. They come and share space and food, and none ever appear to get upset with each other, not like my parents did. There has been nothing but love and mutual respect. As powerful as his people are, they are gentler than any human I've ever known, other than my mother. I was with Cowlitz for over 5 years before we made love for the first time. You might find that strange, but life is different with them. Up until then, I was satisfied just being with him, and if I felt the need, I had no problem with pleasing myself. But he never pressured me or even tried. When the time came, it was my choice. The first was the most difficult. After all, it was my very first time, and as you can imagine, he's not exactly small. But don't worry, I do not think they're as large as some people might think. I have seen naked men, and and they're not entirely different, maybe just bigger. So the first few times were a challenge. I worried about getting pregnant, but I wasn't even sure if that was possible. I realized over the years I must have gotten pregnant and miscarried, thinking it was just womanly stuff. That was something that took some getting used to. In my domesticated life, I had stuff for that. Things are different out here, and I had to learn to adapt. I can't believe it's been over 17 years that I have lived out here. We have had such an amazing life together. I've been witness to things civilized people can't even comprehend. I've seen nature at its best and at its worst. I'm connected to the forest and all of its inhabitants. I feel all the love and freedom they feel. I've come to understand even when the earth hurts and rumbles and burns, but then breathes new life like the new one I now carry. I never thought it would be possible for me to carry his baby, but here we are just over 8 months along. I already know what I'm having. We are already connected mentally. He knows me and I know him. I also know he will be coming soon. I just don't know what it'll do to me. But no matter what, I know he'll be just as magnificent as his father. Throughout this entire pregnancy, I could sense the fear and concern that Cowlitz carried with him. It's the only time I have ever felt him to be afraid, which concerned me. He went to his people for help. He remembered stories of others, one being Wendy, Claire's mom. They know of several, but none that they thought could help. So they sent word through the whole land. Claire was the only one to answer the call, and through her connection with all of them, she found me, Claire, my midwife and savior. There is much more to my story, but I am tired, and Claire is insisting that I rest. Before I go, I want you to know, I didn't give up on society. I simply returned to the home I was meant for. But if I die, I just wanted to know that my voice and my life meant something. And if somehow my sister hears this, I want her to know that I understand why she left, and I'm not upset with her. I never forgot her, and I will always love her. To all that hears this, thank you for hearing my story. I just hope you found some sort of peace as you listened.
Wow.
My hand fell asleep.
I mean, wow.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I'm out of a job. No, that was amazing. Oh my God. Thank you for that. I have never been so immersed into a story. I'm serious. That was
reading to the kids.
Wow. Holy cow. What a treat. Oh. Wow. Great job. Here, you finish Claire, will you?
What are you doing?
I can't.
What are you doing? Why are you getting emotional?
Stupid. Sorry. This between the story and my pride for my daughter, So great job. Wow, that's phenomenal. I mean, just hearing that, like I said, I've never been so immersed. I don't know how many times I got goosebumps.
It was a great story.
What an amazing journey. What an amazing life.
Right.
The courage it must take to
right.
And it's just amazing.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right, let me try to finish this. I think I lost it because I just kind of all right, I think I'm here. All right, so this is Claire. All right. Thank you, Steve and TAS family. I'm sure you all enjoyed this story just as much as I did. Helen is amazing. Yeah, that goes without saying. But here comes my big surprise for all of you. Oh, okay. I forgot about this part.
The surprise.
By the time I have Steve share this story, I will have returned to the forest with a small medical team to assist Helen with the birth of her baby. Please congratulate Helen on the birth of her 12.6 pound, 21 and a half inch long baby boy, and welcome Cowlitz Jr., the second, or as I'm going to call him, Little Seeker, my new God baby. Wow, wow. I want you all to know that Helen did have a very hard time, but she is doing amazing. She now knows that she will never be forgotten, and she will always have me and a few of the local indigenous people to look out for her. Cowlitz is just such an amazing father and protector. I don't remember ever witnessing so much love in one place. They are young and have a long journey ahead of them, but I have no doubt that they will be fine. I'm looking forward to watching Little Seeker grow up, and so aren't we. Don't worry, I'll be sharing as much as I possibly can with all of you. As always, thanks again for all that you do, Steve. Without you, Helen's message would likely never have been heard. What you are doing is making a difference. Claire. Wow. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, what a phenomenal follow-up after she was gone to come back with that. And I know Helen will never see this. So Claire, please send her our love and regards and appreciation for sharing that amazing journey with us and her life and their life and what's going on. I mean, wow. And Ashley, thank you. Thank you for reading that. I mean, seriously. Oh my God. I won't even give you the generic applause. I think everybody out there who's watching is, if you have a dry eye, you're applauding yourself because, oh my God, that was phenomenal. Thank you so much for that.
No, that was fun.
You enjoyed that?
Yeah, I did.
What a great job. You're a natural. You're a natural. I mean, in the beginning, and everybody knows that in the beginning for me, it was work, like getting down the flow and stuff like that. I didn't read. So I didn't read to you kids. So if obviously
you had other stories we listened to.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But oh man. Anyway, so that's it for now, folks. Thank you so much for joining me here. Just a quick reminder, don't forget, in fact, it's going to be tonight, every Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless, every once in a while something comes up. But I try to be here every Sunday for the live show where we'll discuss all this stuff. We have special guests come on. We share, people come on and share their stories with us there. We have a great conversation, lots of laughs. We're going to be introducing some new stuff. I'm working on figuring out how to do a few giveaways and stuff like that. So we can maybe give out some free shirts and some different stuff like that and have some surprises and that on the show. As a way to say thank you for all the support that we've gotten through the past couple of years. October 4th, I think, is our 2-year anniversary. So hopefully we can do something really cool for that. Anyway, that's it, though. Thank you for that, for being here. And you guys have a terrific evening, week. Take care of yourself, and we will see you again really soon.